Lord, the House was on fire today when they had the Judiciary Committee to consider holding Hunter Biden in contempt. Well, guess what? Hunter Biden decided to stroll into the actual committee room. Man, Republicans were angry and upset, mad as all get out at this. Of course, they have wanted him to testify, but they first wanted him to testify in private with the deposition and then go public. He said, no, I will testify publicly. Well, they don't want that. They want it to be private first and then come in. And boy, it got ugly. Even crazy and deranged South Carolina Congresswoman Nancy Mace, ooh, she was really upset. And did she actually use white privilege? Listen to this.
Chairman Comer, first of all, my first question is, who brought Hunter Biden to be here today? That's my first question. Second question, you are the epitome of white privilege, coming into the Oversight Committee, spitting in our face, ignoring a congressional subpoena to be deposed. What are you afraid of? You have no balls to come up here and...
Mr. Chairman, point of inquiry.
Mr. Chairman,
if the gentlelady wants to hear from Hunter Biden, we can hear from him right now, Mr. Chairman. Let's take a vote and hear from Hunter Biden. What are you afraid of?
Hold on. Order.
Are women allowed to speak in here or no? Are women allowed to speak in here or no? Because you keep interrupting me.
I'll interrupt the chairman. I don't know that he's a lady.
I think that that Hunter Biden should be arrested right here, right now, and go straight to jail. Our nation is founded on the rule of law.
Come on.
And the premise that the law applies to...
Oh, you say let's send Hunter Biden to jail, yet Congressman Jim Jordan is sitting his ass right there. He has ignored a subpoena for 608 days, but you don't want him to go to jail. Okay, got it. Well, you heard Congressman Moskowitz there, Jared Moskowitz, who was interrupting her. Here's also some of what he had to say.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's good to see you after a long break. So I'm listening to the gentlelady from South Carolina about the witness being afraid to come in front of the committee. It's interesting. He's here. He doesn't seem to be too afraid. In fact, for some reason, the chairman, who on multiple occasions invited the witness to come on TV, apparently the chairman wants to pretend like his statements on television or in interviews don't matter, but it didn't happen once, it didn't happen twice, it happened multiple times. The chairman said the witness can choose whether to come to a deposition or to a public hearing in front of the committee. The witness accepted the chairman's invitation. It just so happens the witness is here. If the committee wants to hear from the witness, and the chairman gave the witness that option, then the only folks that are afraid to hear from the witness with the American people watching are my friends on the other side of the aisle. I don't know if there's a proper motion.
All right, y'all. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett of Texas, ooh, she really laid into the Republicans.
We love the Constitution today, and we also want to talk about foreign money coming in. Have y'all seen the report that was just produced where this chairman decided that he was going to block this committee from receiving additional information about y'all's guy, Trump, and all the money that he took? From what we did receive, we know that Trump got almost $6 million that we can account for, and we know that there's more there. From China specifically, we found almost $8 million total that he accepted from foreign governments while he was serving as the president of these United States. But we're concerned about the president's son who has not been involved in his administration. I just want to run it back, though, to the very beginning, because this is something that I just can't get over. I can't get over the gentle lady from South Carolina talking about white privilege. It was a spit in the face, at least of mine as a black woman, for you to talk about what white privilege looks like, especially from that side of the aisle. And let me quote your now ousted speaker and what he had to say about the Republican Party and y'all's lack of diversity. When you look at the Democrats, they actually look like America. When I look at my party, we look like the most restrictive country club in America. So let me tell you something. Y'all don't know what white privilege looks like, but I'm gonna show you a little bit of something. You see, you want to talk about a two-tier justice system, and this is the only time that y'all have ever referenced it, when this country has a history when it comes to black and brown folk of having two separate sets of rules. And right now what you want to do is have two separate sets of rules because Mr. Moskowitz offered y'all a fair situation. He said he would vote for Hunter to be held in contempt if y'all voted to hold all, even if you remove all of the members of Congress. There's still other people that y'all haven't decided that y'all have excuses for, but y'all don't want to hold them in contempt. But for some reason, it makes sense to hold Hunter Biden in contempt, who has tried to comply. And let me tell you why nobody wants to talk to y'all behind closed doors, because y'all lie. That's just the bottom line. You have done it thus far in this investigation. You have done it this far as it relates to this committee. In every single hearing, y'all spin, spin, spin. I don't know how y'all are still standing right now because you should be quite dizzy from all the spinning that you're constantly doing when it comes to spinning the truth. You talk about free and fair elections, but you back a guy who we know tried to steal the election. And this isn't about what Democrats have to say. Let me remind you, for those of you that don't know how the justice system works, it's not a matter of the president went in and indicted Trump, but we are talking about grand juries. Grand juries are comprised of American citizens, and the people that have entered pleas of guilty that will be flipping on your leader in a minute, they are Republicans. I do want to point that out. And half of them were Republicans that were handpicked by Donald Trump himself. So, to be clear, whatever happens to your little leader, it's going to be because of the actions that he took. So you can talk all you want to about how January 6th was nonsense, but all of y'all were running at that time. Y'all were grabbing y'all's gas masks and y'all were running to your offices because you didn't know if they were coming to kill you. You should have cared that somebody was there to protect you, but instead you want to play games because you found out that it was your leader that decided that he wanted to propagate an insurrection on our country. So don't tell me that you care about the Constitution, because you don't. All you care about is Trump getting reelected, and I'll yield the last of my time to my leader.
Thank you very much, Ms. Crockett, for your eloquent and powerful and irrefutable.
Now, the House Judiciary Committee did vote to formally recommend the full House hold Hunter Biden in contempt of Congress for defying a subpoena in the Republican impeachment inquiry into his father. Robert Patillo is host of People, Passion, Politics, WAOK 1380 out of Atlanta. Glad to have Robert on the show. Also on the show, we have Rebecca Carruthers, VP for Fair Election Center out of D.C., Tarun Walker, founder of Context Media. I got a kick out of the whole deal, all the drama. I really loved, Rebecca, when Marjorie Taylor Greene was time for her to speak. That's when Hunter and his people decided to walk out. Boy, did she get all mad, upset. They look like idiots. You can't keep yelling, testify, 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 and he's sitting right there, but they wouldn't call him.
Just clowns. They're not there for any serious work of the country. They're there to score political points. And even to see what they yelled at Hunter Biden in the hallway, I believe someone yelled at him, "When's the last time you've taken crack, Hunter?" I mean, just pure stupidity. You know, there's so much that's going on in this country where we actually need real leadership. There are many issues of national importance that the Congress could be working on, but these people don't care. They'd rather just be on the Hill and play games. But you know what? When they play foolish games, they're going to get foolish prizes come November 2024.
Robert, to see people complain about him not testifying, but he's sitting right there. Oh, no, no, no. The rules are you must testify in private first, do a deposition first. First of all, the moment he is sworn in, if he lies, whether public or in the deposition, that's perjury. Now, what they want to do is do a private deposition, leak selective comments from the deposition before there be a public one. We already know what this game is.
Of course, and Hunter Biden, people forget that outside of the addiction issues, he's a Ivy League educated attorney who knows how these games are played. I think this is best put by our friend Pastor Darrell Scott, former pastor for President Trump, one of his African American advisory board. Darrell Scott tweeted out, Hunter Biden showed up in Congress, unzipped his pants, pulled himself out, waved it around, gave all the Republicans the middle finger, and walked out, sucking all the air out of the room. I'm not on Hunter's side, but that was a G move right there. Even Republicans realize that the House Republicans are making absolute idiots out of themselves, and they've done this every single time they've done one of these Hunter Biden hearings. And the truth is that this is being driven by the far right wing of the Freedom Caucus and the Republican Party. This, not even a majority of Republicans agree with going down this line of questioning, because this takes attention off of President Biden and reminds people how ridiculous the Republicans are. Right now, the Republicans are opposing Mike Johnson, MAGA Mike, the hand-picked conservative Speaker of the House, because he cut almost the exact same deal with Schumer and President Biden to keep the government open. And now even Matt Gaetz and other Freedom Caucus members are going to have to decide whether or not they're going to fund the government or have another recall petition and potentially not have a Speaker of the House again. This is all, as Rebecca said, on the backdrop of 25,000 dead Palestinians. And we're debating whether or not we're going to send aid to humanitarian aid to help those people. On the backdrop of 500,000 dead Ukrainians, and we're debating whether or not we're going to send additional funds to try to bring it into that conflict. Republicans love talking about the issues at the southern border. President Biden requested $13.6 billion in October to deal with the issues at the southern border. That hasn't gotten a vote yet by Republicans in the House of Representatives, and they've not even negotiated on that, despite the Senate staying in session to negotiate on that. But what they have done is vote for $886 billion military budget for the defense authorization. So the Republicans are showing themselves to not be a serious governing party, and every day this turns into an episode of House of Cards. I remind people that entire genre of television is gone now, because Republicans are so ridiculous. There's nothing that Shonda Rhimes can write that will be more ridiculous than this. There's nothing that Veep can write that will be crazier than this. There's nothing that House of Cards or the West Wing could write that would be more ridiculous than what's going on in Congress right now. So we had to replace all those shows with reality shows, because there's a reality show in Congress led by the host of The Apprentice. What did they expect to happen when they turned their entire party into a clown show?
Let's be clear, Toron. You can't sit here and whine and complain about Hunter Biden ignoring a subpoena when you literally have Republicans sitting in the room who did the exact same thing.
That's true, but we also have to look at it from the perspective of a voter. The average voter, especially the average working class voter, all they see is a political circus. They say what Kendrick Lamar like to call demo crips and red blood against, where you see two different factions gangbanging. And while we can debate the merits of this indictment, we can debate the merits of even discussing this. If you look at the way this has been discussed, it really is ridiculous. It seems like something like the last brother said out of either a comedy or some sort of dramatic show. But this is actually real life, and no real screenwriter would put this out in front of the public because they wouldn't believe it. Unfortunately, what the public is going to see, they're going to see people who they perceive as having privilege being able to walk into Congress and walk back out with no real consequences, even though there's already been several deals on the table that have either been refused because of the reasons you say, or because either the Republicans won't accept it or the Democrats won't accept it. But at the end of the day, when somebody is working 9 to 5 and they go into the voting booth and all they have to go on is seeing what how people move in these situations, and the conversation doesn't really seem serious, and it seems like a lot of backbiting, and it seems like a lot of tit for tat, that's going to have real effect at the voting place. And that's what I think the fear is from a lot of Democrats and Republicans. I think this has to be taken more seriously, and it has to be conducted in a business-like manner. Otherwise, it's just going to make the whole entire country look ridiculous.
Yeah, but the bottom line is this here. Republicans, they control the House, pure and simple. And they pass the fewest number of bills we have seen in decades. There's utterly dysfunction. And now they're blocking the spending bill because they are ticked off as Speaker of the House Mike Johnson. So if I'm the Democrats, I'm going to sit back and let these fools show their asses, because they're the ones who are in charge. And so they can't even get their act together. They can't even pass bills on their side of the House because the Freedom Caucus, the Conservative Freedom Caucus, is holding the entire caucus hostage. So trust me, we're about to see more drama. Robert, real quick, 20 seconds.
Just real quick. Also, Nancy Mace and Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about white privilege, talking about can women speak, saying that Hunter Biden is a misogynist because he's afraid of listening to women. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, because this is the party that's completely against quote unquote identity politics.
Right.
Until it's convenient for them, and then they can use it.
Absolutely. And it's white privilege that they are all actually in power.